The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Fream. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 139. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter at ZZZEDTOZED, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Well, gentlemen, the summer is officially over. We have just closed out August and are beginning anew with RTDL, with UHH, and to rein in this brand new season of gaming, I've got Proulx with me. How you doing, Proulx?
I'm doing good. You know what? I don't know if I should sneak this in here now or talk about it later, but I had a pretty significant milestone this week, so a little bit of a win of the week. Yeah.
I also have a win of the week, but let's introduce our other co-host tonight. It is Koosh Moose helping us ring in the new season. How you doing, Koosh?
Not too bad. How are you guys doing?
Good. Do you have a win of the week?
Sure. Why not?
Well, yours sounds like a loser of the week. Should we just get yours out of the way so we can end on some real positivity?
No. Okay. If you want to, I guess I can go first.
I mean, we could do the big hitter in Proulx.
Let's go with Proulx. I really want to know.
You hyped it up. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
I did. So I hit 400,000.
Nice work.
This week. Yeah.
That's a great milestone.
And here's the thing. I actually am one. I've talked about this in the past. I'm not one to really focus on that sort of thing. I just kind of blow past it. And I'm like, oh, cool. Now there's a different number that starts my gamer score and whatever. Well, if you had listened to the show last week, the reviews had show I've been playing Castaway Paradise, which has all sorts of strange, odd gamer score values, which actually, coincidentally, evened my score out for the first time in probably 10 years, honestly.
So you didn't get the completion then?
No, I haven't yet. I'm missing like 4 pretty easy achievements, and I think I'm just going to hold on to them until they show up in like UHH or Remedy List or something. I think I'm just going to keep my score even just for fun, because it's like I can get those achievements whenever. It's no big deal. And it's kind of fun being evenly divisible right now.
Well, because your life is in order and there's balance and the world is right. So it just makes sense.
It doesn't bother me that much, but I'm also not bothered to go back and get it done. I'll just save those achievements for a later time. So anyways, I evened out my score last week, and I was quickly approaching 400,000, and I got to I think I was at about 170 or 160 away or something like that.
Yeah.
And I popped a 20 point, not knowing, because I really, like I said, I don't usually focus too much on this sort of stuff, but I got pretty close, and I popped an achievement, and then I decided I'll talk about it later, but for UHH I had a Peggle 2 achievement, and I wanted to keep going with that, so there was a 150 point achievement in Peggle 2 called Even More Chivos.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So that's actually what I crossed the threshold with. It's a 150 pointer. I was 10 or 20 points over, technically.
Sure. So you didn't hit on the nuts, but yeah.
But I was at 400,020, and I got it with that achievement. So I thought that was pretty monumental, milestone-y. It felt pretty good. So
that's cool. Nice work.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's great. That's great. So what else you been playing? I mean, you got some UHH action. How's your matchup going?
Oh, so I am. So what do you call a pudding who is there? So pudding is the official term for people who don't even try or don't even put any effort. This guy, he's kind of leaving me guessing, because we get our lists on Saturday. I'm all pumped. I start right away. I go through the week, and then he puts up 1 point on Thursday night, and that's it.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's like old pudding or crusty pudding.
Was it by accident?
It's possible, I guess. I don't know. The one he put up was a really easy Jackbox one.
Okay. On Thursday night, maybe he had some friends coming over, and he had to get his Jackbox on.
Would that be a parfait?
Maybe that we could call him that. So it's right now the current lineup is 7-1.
That's not so bad.
Now my list was kind of a doozy.
Ooh, yeah.
So I didn't expect to get a lot of it done. But if I certainly would have got more of it done if I had some competition.
Yeah, I have a bit of pushed a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely would have pushed a little bit. So real quick, I'll just list the games that I've got achievements in. In fact, one of the achievements that I had was for Little Nightmares. So I got that. And then Jackbox, like I mentioned. Undertow, Borderlands, Monaco, Guardian Heroes, and Peggle 2, which I mentioned as well.
Right.
I have a bit of tragedy to talk about as well, but a disappointment with Xbox, because one of my achievements was for Fallout 3 and reaching level 8 with neutral karma.
Oh yeah.
Now I played the hell out of Fallout 3 when it first came out. I played 2 full playthroughs, one good side, one bad side, but I never went back and cleaned up the 3rd level, which is neutral. So there's the only achievements I'm missing in the game. There's 3 neutral achievements and like 1 DLC collectible, and I'll be done with that game. Well, I'm like, okay, since this guy is taking it easy, I'll take my time. I'll pick this game, and
you want to get it done.
Yeah, I might as well. I'll start
totally
it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it'll take 5 hours, but if he's not trying, I can take the 5 hours and get that achievement. Well, I was playing it on my 360 at the time, and I was just about to head into an encounter where I knew I was going to get enough experience points to hit level 8. So I checked to make sure I'm still online. No problems there. And everything seems to be working fine. And then I pop my achievement, and then I press the guide button, and my Xbox was no longer online.
Oh, no!
I was so salty. I was so frustrated. It literally took me probably 5 or 6 hours to get this achievement just for this competition. I don't need it, technically, but it's still frustrating to not get credit for it.
Oh, yeah. No, that blows.
Yeah, so whatever. That's fine.
That totally happened to me this week, too. I was playing Halo 4 on the 360, or through backwards compatibility. But I had the disc, so I had to pop the disc in, and I was playing on my X. And like I was using that for my gamertag challenge for FUG, and I needed the H. So I was like, oh, you know what? I've never even started the story. I did the first thing I did is I got in and did that thing where you look up your name in the terminal or whatever. And so I was like, you know what? I'll just whip through the first level of the story, just kind of get a feel for it. That game actually looks really good. Like I bet it's getting enhanced by the X, but it looks really good. Anyway, so I finished the first level, and there's a big cinematic there at the end, and it's like I knew I had finished, and so I'm watching the cinematic, and all of a sudden the toast comes up, disconnected from Xbox Live, and I'm like, no! And so like I immediately, I'm hitting the bumpers, I forgot how to pull up the 360 guide through backwards compatibility, and so I finally did it, and I was like, oh, thank God, okay, paused, reconnected right away, and then like within 2 minutes later, that achievement popped for beating the first level. It's like, oh, that was dangerous. So Rich had actually discussed implementing, like he kind of, I think he figured out a way to like incorporate those into like UHH, because he's like at this point, like there's not really anybody cheating. It's like everyone's just getting screwed by backwards compatibility and not cheating. So why don't we implement like this? And Planting and I kind of thought, it's still kind of square. Like to change midstream, like let's not do that. But we're talking about it for next time. That because like at that point, it's gonna be 8 years. Like I mean, come on, really. So that might not be a problem next time. Where it's like, listen, we get it if it happens to be offline, but if you also get stuff offline for the contest, like, yeah, people are going to be looking. They're going to be checking to see if you're doing anything sketchy on your tag. But that's not to say you couldn't be doing squirrely things on your Xbox One right now. I know how many participants' Xboxes are traveling around the globe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sure. And like I said, it's just frustrating because I did spend all that time on it. And it's like, I don't get that super satisfying green check mark next to my list.
Now, you could have done that on one playthrough, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I know now. I didn't at the time.
And that's what happened to me. It's because like I made it to... I was almost to level 20 and I was like, oh, I'm just kind of wrapping things up now. I can finish the game. you know what? I'll just check. And like I was getting ready to start the DLC, and I was like, oh, I'll just check and see if I missed anything. And I looked at the achievement list because I was playing through it naturally, and I saw that there was one quest line that I couldn't do because I murdered the quest giver. He was that slaver guy, the gatekeeper for the slaver camp. So I totally murdered him, and he never came back. And I was like, okay, well, I have to play one playthrough anyway. But from here on out, I'll do the thing where you save right before, you go to you start getting enough experience, and you can, either murder a bunch of people to go really evil, or you can murder just a few people to get, because I always end up playing good playthroughs anyway. Like, I can't help not being a good person.
It is tough sometimes.
Well, typically because you're so much more rewarded for doing good things. Like, it's tough to like, not many games can adequately balance the good rewards with the evil rewards. Like, if it's just evil, people are just super hostile toward you, and you have to just kill everybody and get experience that way. And it's like, well, that's not fun. Anyway, it's kind of a tangent.
Yeah. At the time when it came out, 2008, I was considerably less interested, not uninterested, but less interested in achievements than I am now. So at the time, I was just playing because, well, it's fun.
It's a great game.
It's a fantastic game. And what's really interesting now, I live down here. I live in the DC metro area. So it's really interesting to kind of see now it through that lens, like how terrible the geography and this stuff, not terrible, but how inaccurate, I'll say, that it is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to see the liberties they take with that sort of stuff. And some of the things that they get right, like the actual metro stations and underground is pretty close. They've taken some creative liberties, but it's really interesting how they do it. Are you
telling me I can't run from Annandale to the Washington Monument in like 3 minutes?
Believe it or not, you can't. But you know what? It was real easy for Bethesda, since they're about 20 minutes from the city. They can. It was easy for them to research it, so I guess that's why we got Fallout 3. But anyways, yeah. So that was all my UHH playing. I'm gonna go over just a couple things other than that I played. I played. Oh, so you heard about the $2 for 2-month Games Pass thing? Did you hear about that?
Yep.
So I did it because, $2 for 2 months. What the heck, right? Why not? You know what I played, Fream, and I want to talk about a little bit?
What's that?
Late Shift.
Oh, yeah. That's a live-action game.
Have you played Late Shift?
I have not.
Okay.
I hear it's like kind of more of a visual novel, right?
Yeah, it's more of a movie. It's
kind of like a Night Trap, right?
I haven't played Night Trap.
Oh, sorry. Show my age.
Yeah. So Late Shift, I want to sit one of these people who are very critical about the gameplay sections of Telltale games. I want to sit them down in front of Late Shift, and I want to see their reaction. Because a lot of times when I hear people criticize Telltale stuff, when they basically say it's just the story, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is that. This. You are in a movie. You come to a decision section, and you have 2 seconds to pick between option A or option B. And that's it.
That's not a lot of time.
I mean, it's probably more than that. It's probably 4 or 5 seconds. I can't remember specifically, but interesting. Very interesting experience. And I think it could even be compelling. But that story was not that interesting, so it was kind of meh. And there's like 8 endings, and you have to play them all. But Late Shift, very interesting. Very interesting game. So just a couple of other quick games that I've played this week that I really wanted to. Abzu, which was also on Games Pass.
Right.
Yep. Have you played Abzu?
That's like Echo the Dolphin with no dolphin, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Underwater exploration game, I guess I would call it. Not great. Not fantastic. It's just disorienting because
short though, right?
Yeah, how far did you go?
I got it done. I finished the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. There's nothing interesting happening in the game. So you're just kind of swimming, and there's fish sometimes, and then there's some buildings, and that's it. That's like all the context you're given. So yeah, it's fine. And the last thing I wanted to highlight, and then we can move on. Of course, we talked about it last week. Rocket League.
That's right.
New achievements. I didn't get it done. I only played one night, but it was so awesome going back to Rocket League. I got 3 or 4 achievements, and this was the night that the update came out. And I instantly got like 20,000 TA.
Oh,
and it dropped the next morning. So it's definitely normalizing at this point, but it was really... it's just a club system, so you make a clan, and you get clan tags, and you play against other clans, and it's fine. It's a new way to play Rocket League, and I just got to play more Rocket League, so I was happy. But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing this week. So.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I'll have to go back and do that.
It's easy. You can get the DLC done.
I heard it was like under an hour.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really focusing on it, basically what I was doing was me and my friend were just playing Rocket League like under this clan, and that was it. So we weren't going for those achievements, but like I said, I got 3 or 4 out of the 6 or 7 that there are in it. But yeah, if you're going for it, if you're doing private matches and private tournaments and stuff, you can get this definitely in under an hour. It's nice. Like, I mean, it's kind of par for the course for Rocket League DLC. Like this is kind of how it's always been.
Right.
Easy stuff that you can get in custom games and stuff, and any excuse to play some more was good for me.
How does that club system work? It seems like you can't invite or you can't even search for a club through the regular interface. And I think I saw somewhere that if you're in a party with someone, then you can create a club. So
my friend had to create the club, and then there was no option to invite into the club. I had to join his party, his regular party, at which point he was able to give me a club invitation, which I accepted. What's actually kind of cool about it is when you're creating the club, you choose your primary and secondary colors, which normally isn't a huge thing, but Rocket League is so ingrained in my mind as blue versus orange that when you actually finally match up against another clan, and this only happens when you match up against another clan, the colors change. The whole color scheme of the level and all of that changes.
Oh, really? Interesting.
The level, too. Okay.
Yeah, well, like the neon lights that are everywhere. Like in the goals and stuff. It changes from whatever, the standard Rocket League fare to the club color schemes, which was, I thought, really cool. But yeah, we haven't delved really deep into it, and I don't know how deep it goes, but it just feels like... your first-person shooter clan tag. It doesn't feel much different than that.
Sure.
But it's just a way for you to play with your friends more often, I guess.
But it's not a game that would really lend itself to having a large clan, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I don't know what 10 people would do for you in Rocket League.
Exactly.
You can't play with 10 people. So, yeah, it's... I guess you could do the tournament stuff, but I don't know why you would play in a tournament against only your own clan, so I'm not really sure what their goal was. Right. But it's fine. Again, more achievements for Rocket League. Sign me up.
Yes, bueno. That's a word, right? Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So, Koosh, how is your UHH matchup going?
It's going fine. I think it's just kind of doing its own thing. I haven't really been paying too much attention to it. I actually only started participating in the past, I'd say, 3 days or so. I've been pretty busy with other things. For instance, not going to talk about too much because it's not Xbox, but Guacamelee 2 came out on the PS4, and I tested the waters there, and it is fantastic. So when that does come over to the X, I will be on that right away and enjoying it. Don't want to go into too much. Also been kind of chipping away at my Rayman Legends. I said I would, and then I saw Matriarch came out of nowhere and just blitzed right to the top of the charts. She was level 10 awesomeness in like no time, and I was still at like 9 at that point, and I was just thinking, oh, okay, that's kind of ridiculous. So I went ahead and she lit a fire. I went ahead and basically completed the base stuff in the game. All I have left now are the dailies.
That takes so long.
It does. It really does. I was thinking, I'm going to be, once I clean up all the stuff, I'm going to be really far ahead by like, I don't know, 200-300 at least, right? Experience points. Nah, it's like maybe 150. So it's really close. So I'm just going to keep chipping away at it, but that was a lot of fun. So I put some time into that. What I've been doing like crazy since the last time we had talked, we kind of looked at when Doughboy was on. We had looked at when the Evolve servers were going down, and I had kind of forgotten that they were going down.
Right.
So for the past 2 weeks, I guess, I've just been hitting Evolve really hard with those guys. And just
Isn't that like
solo.
Monday?
Well, it's real soon. I think it's like the 9th.
Okay.
So it might be a week and a half, but so we've kind of all been hitting it kind of hard solo, and then giving up Diablo night and giving up whatever other night, and we had a special Tuesday session when the Halo session fell through. So I was able to get it done. I think Smitty is right on the cusp of being done. I think we have to get together and kind of maybe make it a little bit easier to get him through one of the tougher matches that it requires like 5 game sessions in a row. I forget what that's called. But we have to run him through that, or he can do it by himself. But might as well push him through since he helped. Just lots of evolve, and I got my completion. So I've been sitting done for a couple days now, which has kind of freed me up to look at other things like the UHH and the RTDL. I also completed the challenge, the Gamertag challenge,
For Fug?
For Fug, yeah. And I did the Foo Cuddly Poof extra level of difficulty. It was all 360 backwards compatible games, so that's completely done. I'm looking forward to next month, figuring that out. So then once I was done all that stuff, I finally had some time to go and look at some of these competitions like the UHH. And I saw that my guy had not done anything, and I was like, okay, that's great. I do want to score some points. I don't want to just be a pudding the whole time. So looked in and I said, okay, well, what looks like fun here? So my UHH matchup was pretty much platformers with some other stuff sprinkled in. So I had Mega Man Legacy Collection 1. I had So Many Me and Mega Coin Squad and Phoenix Furia and 10 Second Ninja X. And let's see what else we have here. Schrodinger's Cat. And it just goes on. And Gianna Sisters and Cube.
That is a lot of platformers.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious.
Cube's not really a platformer. It's more of like a puzzler. But yeah, so I would say half my list is platformers, and a lot of those were towards the bottom end. And I guess Dear God, if you want to call that a platformer. But yeah, so I had a lot of platformers. I was thinking, maybe I'll go back and visit these and kind of go into them. Never really happened. Instead, I decided to jump into Heart and Slash. And I got sucked into that game, and I think I probably did about half the achievements while trying to get the one that I needed for UHH. That was the first one that I had popped. And I just started looking through my list and saw, this is pretty easy. So I did something in Bridge Constructor and Hexic HD. I did the survival mode, which wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And the Phoenix Furia actually ended up being something I could do from the menu screen, just about. So I got my 4. I'm content with that, and with the intention of going a little bit harder next week, trying to get my 10 so I can get my badge for the community event. But that was pretty much my past 2 weeks.
Nice, yeah. Not as great for me. Now I didn't expect to be competitive in the UHH, but so I'm losing right now 6-13. He's putting up a nice score. We got a fine little list here. I'm in it for my 10, like because me a 10 in a week is actually pretty tough for me. So like that's my my unicorn, my white whale, whatever you want to say. That's my goal, and I laid out a plan to do that, but given that we only have 4 hours left as of recording, I'm not gonna quite get there. But I did have some fun gaming this week that I can talk about here. This week, the launch of Brawlout came out. Well, it was last week, but I got to play it this week.
Yeah,
so,
I forgot about that.
Yep, I've been playing Brawlout, the Smash Brothers-esque game, and so
that's kind of a nice way to put it, I think.
Well, there's enough nuance to it that there's some differentiating, and most notably, there's no shield. it's only dodging. So that kind of makes it a more frenetic game, if that's even possible. And there's no items, which I kind of miss. Like, I like the idea of having, like, obviously there's not going to be a Pokeball, but, like, just having some things to, like, huck around and stuff. Those are kind of fun. It is just really very traditional platform fighter. But it does use the percentage system. It does use the smash attacks and things like that. The characters are pretty unique. They've got some really kind of cool things going on, and so I played through the tutorial, 2 quick achievements there, and played a little bit of the single player against the computer. Had some fun, and then I decided, I have some daily challenges. I'm gonna take on some of those, and so I decided to play online, and you can only play 1-on-1. Right now, if you just go straight, and it's peer-to-peer. And so I got my first match, first 2 or 3 matches, and it was for using Olaf, which is the walrus gangster guy with a penguin on his back. And so, I was playing him. I figured out how to use him pretty well, so I ended up winning my first 2 games pretty easily. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This is not so bad. And so then the guy I beat twice was like, he opted not to rematch me, so I had to go back into the queue. Oh, that's fine, whatever. Queued up real quick. I'm finding matches very quickly, probably because their requirements for connectivity are dreadful. I got into some just potato matches. I mean, like, so much so that I'm getting like the little Wi-Fi blinky thing in the corner. It's like, it's like a stoplight. It's changing from red, yellow, and green so frequently because it cannot hold a stable connection. Like, I don't know what's going on with the netcode, but it is not good.
And these are not the type of games that you want to play with jaggy internet.
Oh my God, it is awful. Like, I was just getting so frustrated. And so, I'm hoping that either that gets fixed or it's like, maybe local's the way to go, right? Like, I would have more success just having buddies over playing a four-person local game. But, like, it's super fun. It's a Smash Brothers clone. That's exactly what it is, and I enjoy it. As far as achievements go, huge grind. Holy crap. And there's, like, 3 near impossible achievements. Beating...
Give me the worst. Tell me the worst.
So they have these arcade towers where you have to... so the easy mode arcade tower is a 1-on-1 battle. You have to fight 8 guys. You get 2 stock, and you just have to win the match. And then the final battle, the 8th battle, is there's 3 people you're fighting. 2 of them have a single stock, and 1 of them has 2 or 3 stocks, and you have 2, and you have to beat all of them. And it's like, that's easy. So then there's a medium tower, which is more battles, but I don't remember how it is. Then there's a hard tower, which is even more battles. I think it's 16 battles, and you face 2 opponents, I think. It's not 1-to-1. I think it's 1-on-2. Anyway.
And no health recovery.
Wow.
There is an achievement for climbing those towers without losing a stock.
Okay.
And it's like, how the hell are you supposed to, like, if you just get into a bad combo, like, your percentage is going to climb. And they have this thing called Rage that if you, you build this up, and when it's full, all the way full, you can use it, and it's pretty much, it like doubles your percentage hit output. So like everything's a smash pretty much, and think guys will just fly. But what's cool is if it's not all the way full and you want to spend it, like if you get hit, you can spend it by hitting the bumps at the same time, and it freezes you in midair. It's like a breaker. And so like if you're getting launched off the side, you can quick hit those and stop yourself from getting launched. So it's kind of a quick parachute type thing. So that's kind of a cool mechanic. Anyway, I've had a lot of fun with it. It's really neat, especially if you like those kind of games. And then I went into some UHH mode. I had an easy one in Runbow. High ratios on those things. That was one of my highest ratio ones, and it took me all of 10 minutes to do. I went and did a little Dark Arcana. What is that one? The stupid Artifex Mundi one. Dark Arcana, the Carnival.
Yeah, Dark Carnival.
So I had to beat the bonus level. So all I have left in that game is my Monaco playthrough. On my UHH was Back to the Future.
Oh, boy.
So I started that up, and it was pretty early in the thing, so I started going through, and it is just, I mean, we've talked about it before, that Telltale, well, it's funny. I'm using Telltale as not the game company, but as like, the telltale signs of a Telltale game. Mixing my metaphors here, but it's like that animation that they have where it's like it's almost like when you're watching like a soap opera, and it's the end of the scene and they all give that face, where it's like. I think I had to do the one where I had to get the Doc's journal from Biff when he's you got to get him with the guitar or whatever, and so but you have to like engage a few things first, and so when Biff takes the guitar out of your hands and Marty gives that goofy ass like face like, oh, why'd you take my thing, and it's like you had to do it like 3 times. I'm like, man. This is so slow. Yeah,
pre-Walking Dead Telltale is a special thing.
Yeah, I've got 2. One. Wait, what? Oh, I did that one. I have some on my random to-do list this time around as well. So anyway, and then I had this is super fun. I had an awesome crossover game in 60-second shooter Prime. I had 2 on my UHH list and 1 on my RTDL. And so I had a triple play, 7 achievements, got 3 of them off of those combined lists. So that was fun. That took me about an hour. Loved me with some twin stick shooters. Took me a while to figure out the mechanics on that one. But I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then it was gamertag time. So I unlocked 1 ending in Wheels of Aurelia. That game's terrible. I don't care for that. But it's like it's so easy to bleed out W's. Like I'll use it, whenever I need a W gamer tag, and it's like, oh, I'll do one more W here. This would be great. And then I played 1 level of Gears of War Judgment. I'm pretty much wrapping up the story on that one, and I'm just following a walkthrough straight through. But it's fun. Like I forget why. I like it as clunky as they kind of feel. Like, it's just kind of fun to get just dirty and get in there with your chainsaw and, rip through some dudes. So that was fun to revisit. And then, like I mentioned, Halo 4. Most of my time I spent on, I dabbled a little bit in Titanfall 2 today. That is smooth. That game is so smooth. But a big chunk of my time, Typo Man. I had a UHH on that one, and I had to play through the second chapter. I finished the first chapter, played through the second chapter. That game is just delightful. I absolutely love that. It is so creative. I remember in high school when you would take like words and you'd have to make them into things, And like I remember creating creatures like the word Doom, even though I didn't use the word Doom, but that that's one of the bad guys in the game, and he turns into some sort of monster. And just how everything kind of plays into it. Like it's so creative with what was it? Well, like the bridges, right? And the bridge would say robust, and then you walk across it, and the R and the O will fall off, and it'll say bust. And it's like, that's clever. Or the O and the B falls out, and it says rust. And it's like, yep, and the bridge fell apart. I should have seen it coming. Like, there it was. Or what was the one where it said part? And you're like, oh, okay, part. And then you get close to it, and it starts to, like, move. And then it flips over and smashes you, and it says trap. And you're like, oh, man. God, I should have saw that coming. And then to catch it, you got to push an S into it, and it turns into strap, and the strap holds the trap down. It's like, I don't know how you even come up with that kind of crap. Like, that's so clever. Love it. The game's fantastic. But, that is not the win of the week. The win of the week, gentlemen, of course, is the end of August. I did it. All of my daily challenges in Minecraft, it finally popped. It was so glorious when I popped that this morning. The key was just 4 straight months of trying to do 7 a.m. as close as possible to the exact same time every day. I don't know if that's what did it, but like I had been, for the past 3 months, I've been doing that, trying to get at 7 a.m., harder on the weekends, and there was one day this month where I was out of town, and so I didn't get to do it till I came home at 8 p.m., and I felt like, man, that's it right there. Like, I'm so screwed because of this stupid wedding is going to wreck my chance at the streak. And sure enough, when I logged in this morning, there it goes. Oh, it was so good. It felt so good. Like, it's almost pathetic how excited I am that this stupid daily achievement actually unlocked.
Wait. What game is this for?
Minesweeper, I think.
Minesweeper.
Okay,
sorry,
yes.
Yeah, not Minecraft.
Thank
sorry,
you,
Minesweeper.
I was very confused the whole time. I played a lot of Minecraft. I've never had to do dailies for Minecraft. What the hell?
Minesweeper.
Okay.
Sorry. I can see how that would be confusing. Yeah. I've been trying for months, and now it finally popped, and it is glorious. So there's that, and my new random to-do list, a little dicey, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some other fun things happening in the world of Xbox. Let's go into. I mean, for us, it's not one of the bigger news stories, but I thought it was interesting the fact that Battlefield 5 is getting delayed. And, they're saying, hey, we're going to do some beta stuff. We're going to do a little more gameplay adjustments, and we're moving it into November. Now, my question to you guys is that a good idea or a bad idea? Let's say the game was indeed going to be done and come out great on the day it was intended, which was... Is that 2 weeks before Call of Duty Black Ops or the week before? I can't remember when it initially was, but I think it was 2 weeks before Black Ops, which is then 4 weeks in front of Red Dead Redemption 2. And so the idea was to get out in front of it. Now it is going to be on November 20th, which is about a month later. It's exactly a month later. And it's... after now, of course, Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2. So, is that a good idea or a bad idea for Battlefield 5? Do you think moving after now those two big games is going to help it? And because really, as the calendar stands right now, there's not a ton of games coming out in November. You got Fallout 76. What was that one that was just announced for like November 27th, right after Black Friday? Oh crap, I can't remember what it was. It was I can't remember right now, but it was another relatively big game, and I think there's a game in early December that's semi-significant. Oh yeah, that's right, Smash Brothers.
That's actually December
7th. Yeah.
So
it's. What do you guys think? How is that going to fare for them? Are they going to get just completely overlooked by so many people continuing to play Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption 2? Or are people going to be like, okay, I had my month with those two games. I'm ready for something new, and they get to, focus and enjoy that as more of a target experience. Koosh, what's your take?
I don't know how people have enough money to play all these games that are going to happen this last quarter. It's just ridiculous. There's too many games, too many big
Way
games.
too many. It is stacked.
So moving out of that time slot or that calendar slot, I guess that's okay. I mean, do you really want to go back when there's three $60 games you want to get, right? And you make that decision, I'm just going to get one, or I'll splurge and I'll get two. Are you really going to pick up the third one at the same time? And if you skipped that third one, are you going to pick it up again later? So time has passed, you played your two games. Are you really going to go pick up that $60 game from 3 months ago? I don't think so. So I think pushing it back, I mean, maybe that's the best of a whole bunch of bad options. So that's probably what they decided to do. And maybe it's going to work out for them. I just don't. I have really no interest in buying this at full price whatsoever. No. So for me, it just kind of doesn't make any sense. There's only one game coming out at that time, and it's Red Dead 2. It's just, I'm just trying to decide how much am I actually going to sink into Red Dead 2. Am I going to do the 60, the 80, or the 100? Like, what is it going to be? That's my decision.
Yeah, I got it. Are you going to buy it on Xbox or PlayStation?
I'm definitely getting it on Xbox. I don't play anything on PlayStation except for exclusives.
My son, and he would not let it go, but he was like, Dad, listen, if you could have 5 games right now for the Switch, what would you buy? And I'm like, hold on. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, what are the, and I went through all the exclusives and I had 4. And I was like, wait, can I wait until Smash Brothers comes out? Like, because that'll be one of them. I'll take Zelda, Odyssey, Mario Kart. I'm like, I don't know what to fit. Can I wait until, like, Pokemon comes out next year? Or Metroid? Like, I don't...
Hey, Pokemon comes out in November, Fream.
I don't want Let's Go Eevee. That's not real Pokemon.
That's fine. If you don't want Let's Go Eevee, you can get Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah,
that's totally fine.
But it's like I mean, he was like pushing me, and he's like, "Well, what about this game? What about this game?" I was like, "What about Hollow Knight?" I was like, "Well, no, that's coming out for Xbox now. Like, I'm just gonna wait for that." And what about this game? No, that'll be on Xbox. I just gotta wait. I'm okay waiting. There's the
Toad. There's the.
That's the one I threw on there.
Yeah.
Was Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, because he wouldn't take no. I can't wait for Metroid, so
right.
I had to go with. I went with Captain Toad.
Okay,
but it's like I certainly don't want to play Splatoon and their garbage multiplayer stuff. Like that doesn't interest me. And anyway, but yeah, so I'm just asking because I know Red Dead there's some marketing exclusivity with PlayStation. They might have some extra toys that you can get. Anyway, yes. Red Dead Redemption 2, like absolutely, that's going to be a huge, exciting game. I don't want to say that I'll get that day one, but I mean that rises to the caliber that I would consider it. Proulx, what's your take on the move here?
So yeah, like I'm gonna admit some bias up front here, and just the way that we as achievement hunters play games, like Battlefield / Call of Duty hasn't been relevant to me in like 7 years.
No,
8 years now. In fact, I'm not going to say they're irrelevant because certainly they sell 8 trillion copies every year.
Oh yeah,
but especially between those 3 games specifically, nobody's going to remember Battlefield 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 17 next year. Red Dead will be remembered, certainly.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of the outcome, even if it's a terrible game, it'll certainly be remembered. But next year we'll get a new Call of Duty and a new Battlefield, and nobody will care about the one that came out this year. So I don't know. It feels like, is it a good move for them? Maybe. I actually, and I pay attention to games. I don't even know. Like, is
right.
it? Good luck to you, Battlefield. I don't know.
Because and the terrible tragedy of what happened down in Florida in Jacksonville with the Madden thing. But it's like, games like that where it's like, oh, yeah, I don't care that the Madden's coming out or the NBA 2K is coming out or the, FIFA. Oh, boy, I can't wait for the next FIFA. And it's like, they sell a ton of copies. Like, those games move. But, like, it's just in our community, that's not that big of a deal. Just because, you have to devote so much time to those and really invest in them. And to this thing, even now, more so with Call of Duty pulling out the single-player stuff, that's even less incentive for us to play. Because usually those are some pretty easy achievements, and then maybe there'd be some multiplayer stuff scattered in there. But, you had a relatively easy list, and then if you liked zombies, then you had that going for you. But... this
is how far behind I am. This is going to be another Black Ops game,
right?
So we're not in space anymore. Like this is like I'm probably 2-3 years behind on my Call of Duty knowledge. But like Black Ops, when was the last Black Ops we got?
Black Ops 3 was a year or two ago, a year and a half ago, maybe.
See, I have no idea.
Well, no, it'd be 2 years ago. It was Treyarch's last one. It was Infinite Warfare was the last space one.
That was the space one. Okay,
that was Infinity Ward.
Okay.
And then it moved to Sledgehammer, who just did World War II, WW2.
Oh, which was was that in response
to Battlefield 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So see,
they came out in the same year, and now we got Black Ops 4. Next year will be Infinity Ward's rumored Modern Warfare 4.
But even though that these games clearly still make, you know,
Bank.
buckets and buckets and buckets of money, don't they feel totally, completely irrelevant in pop culture? Like like compared to something now like Fortnite. Like it's not like nobody cares about Call of Duty. Again,
Well,
I understand the
today. I mean, who's to say that?
Well, no, but I understand that. But I'm saying
Blackout
like
mode or Battlefield's Royale mode are going to, you know, challenge Fortnite. I mean, that's obviously the idea. That's why they're doing it. It's not, you know, they think they can get a piece of this pie.
I mean, we haven't really seen one of these games since, you know, Fortnite went crazy big, right? So I mean, we might be seeing the death of these types of games, or at least you know the slow decline, and maybe they'll come back later. But we don't know. Right? We don't know.
So back to this Battlefield moving here. The only thing, so here's my kind of weird angle on it. If you indeed move from mid-October to the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so now everybody spent their money on Black Ops 4 and Red Dead 2, and it's like, hey, now you're going out for Black Friday shopping. Why don't you buy this for Christmas, and then I'll just get Battlefield, so Mom and Dad can get it for Christmas, and we'll be set. And then, you know, they won't even play it. They can be the Christmas noobs, but they still got their sales, and they can have all the mind share they want leading up to Christmas, and then all the people right before Thanksgiving can get their Battlefields. Maybe that's really gonna suck for Battlefield's multiplayer, though.
I had forgotten that they had cut the single player there. I actually have no interest in this game at all.
In Black Ops 4?
Black Ops 4. Well, I thought it wasn't.
Battlefield will have the single player stuff, kind of what they did with World War I with those little vignettes. There'll be the short experiences kind of showcasing different pieces of the game. I mean, that's really what they were. It's like, hey, here's one that focuses on horsebacks, and here's one where you're a tank guy, and here's one where you're in planes. Just so you know, when you get to multiplayer, this is what it's going to be like.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's kind of, they use it as a tutorial, which I think is brilliant. I mean, that's exactly what you should do.
Right.
You know?
Well, then, yeah, when they go on deep discount, then I will definitely consider Battlefield 5. But Black Ops 4, no interest at all. And unless they, you know, add some DLC single player content at some point in the future, I don't see it.
Well, it'll be exciting when we get to see the brand new sticker that Peggy is putting on these boxes. Have you guys seen this? So Peggy, what does it stand for? The Pan-European Game Information Board, very similar to the ESRB, the Entertainment Software Rating Board. That is the European, scale for saying how appropriate games are. And Peggy has said we're putting a sticker, a warning sticker, for a game that has loot crates and microtransactions. It is the image of a hand holding a credit card saying in-game purchases, and that will be prominently displayed on boxes and digital outlets for everyone to see, you know, when you purchase this game.
See, when you were first describing it, Fream, I thought it was going to be a hand like reaching
into somebody's pocket. Yeah.
Well, no, not into somebody's pocket, but like reaching up onto a slot machine handle and pulling it down.
That's one way, or it could be two fingers and your thumb vertically in the shape of a gun, and then the other one with its hand out, beckoning you to hand it money.
Yeah,
That could be it too, or just that emoji with the dollar signs on its eyes could be that one too. Anyway, we had talked about this before, where it's like, okay, A, too little, too late. B, every single game now has microtransactions or in-game purchases. I mean, that's just the inherent nature of gaming these days. Is this even, is this even going to make a splash? Does anybody even give a crap about this? Like, this is just very silly.
I do think that there is a distinction to be made between a game like, let me think, like Rocket League or The Witcher. Between the really, I just think that there's obviously a scale, there's obviously a gradients here.
Yeah.
between the games that are really heavily focused on this sort of thing and obviously want to take advantage of people, and those that don't. And it's not easy. It's not as easy as a graphic to say this game will take all of your money and give you nothing in return as, a little pictograph. But I do wish there was a way to convey that. You know what I'm saying? I it's frustrating that something like, I haven't played The Witcher, but by all accounts, what they've done with The Witcher, where you can pay for the DLC, but you're getting quality stuff.
Right.
It would be given that same grade along with, Battlefront. And you're like, no, that's not the same.
Yep.
The distinction should be meaningful, and I don't know how you could easily convey that, but it's not an easy thing to solve.
Yeah, it's weird. The Peggy's managing director, Simon Little, this is his statement. It says, purchase offers within games have become a broad phenomenon, and it is necessary to provide the same level of consumer information on both physical and digital releases. Considering that physical releases are an important part of the market, we feel that this is an important gap to fill. For a parent who may not be fully familiar with the video games landscape, seeing this simple descriptor on the packaging of a game they're considering buying should trigger the reflex of keeping an eye on the gameplay. Once the game has been purchased and given to the child, it is basic information, but that's what parents sometimes feel they are lacking. And I think that's kind of where we said is like, you're going to see it on everything. It's going to be meaningless. And what you need is, gradations of, like, it's like with movies, right? So I want to watch Jurassic Park, and my wife for some reason thought Jurassic Park was rated PG, and I was like, it's definitely PG-13. I'm like, don't you remember the scene with the guy on the toilet who like gets completely eaten by the T-Rex? And she's like, no, I don't remember that. I'm like, what about the guy who gets, when they're turning on the power source, and Samuel Jackson flips the breaker or whatever, and the dude's arm is just hanging there? Like,
Fream.
What?
Just to fix what your memory there.
Oh, it's Samuel Jackson's
It's actual
arm.
Samuel Jackson's arm.
That's right.
So, yeah.
But it's like, and she's like, I don't remember that at all. I'm like, it's not horribly graphic, but it's very clear what's happening. And it's like, I want to know, why is it PG-13? What is it that triggers it to get, and I know they have some simple descriptors on the bottom there, but it's just not enough to give me a full understanding of, is this going to be appropriate for my child? What exactly triggered the board to say, yeah, this, some of the dinosaur scenes are a little intense, or some of the, there's a guy who gets his arm torn off. There's a guy who, and so as a parent now I have to go and do all that stuff. And I should have to do that anyway. I mean, that's being responsible. That's understanding what your kids are into, right? So, I think tomorrow my son and I are going to try playing Fortnite for the first time. Because he's, I'm like, you can't go to school next year without having a basic understanding of Fortnite. Even though I don't let you play it, I can't let you go to school being the kid who doesn't like Fortnite. And he's like, it doesn't bother me. I'm like, and so I was playing a little role playing with him, and I'm like, I'm going to be one of your dumb friends talking about Fortnite, and you tell me how you're going to react to it. And he was like, no, I just don't care. I play other games on my Switch. I'm like, seriously, you're going to be so out of the conversation. We have to get you at least a crash course in Fortnite. So we're going to give it a shot tomorrow.
You pay for
I
a
hear you
trailer?
can. I hear you can pay.
Yep.
Pay somebody
for
to do
people.
that.
Pay for coaches. Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, I don't know necessarily what to expect in terms of how toxic is the community? What does voice chat sound like? Am I going to have to keep things quiet and like mute everybody? How realistic are the guns? I know it's pretty silly, but he plays, we play Plants vs. Zombies. Yeah, that's okay. Well, now these are more humanoid-looking people. I don't know where my wife's going to fall in that. She won't be home tomorrow anyway, so, it'd be fine. I get to experience that. We get to figure these things out. So, this little hand thing here with the credit card doesn't give you any information. Doesn't help you at all. And I like I think we mentioned on a previous show, the lack of having that actually is probably more surprising. It's like, oh my god, this game doesn't support microtransactions or extra paid content. That blows me away. What the hell kind of game is that?
Pick your 5 favorite games from the last year. How many of them have extra content? Chances are all of them.
Nearly all of them, unless it's indie.
Even if it's indie.
There's plenty of indies, but I'd say by and large, if you had a game with no additional content, it was an indie release.
For sure.
Because they can support the simple purchase of the game, because they don't have a gigumongous studio to. But
even think of like all of the successful indie titles. They've all, of course, once you have success, then you have more resources, and then you develop more stuff. That makes sense, but it's natural that it follows. But even then, I can't think of the game of the month was Little Nightmares, and they had 3 DLC packs, and it's like, that's a small title developed by a small studio. 3 DLC, and that would have the same sort of card icon on the back that all of these other games were, that were much more egregious in their offenses. So I don't envy the task of trying, like you were mentioning, if we're talking about films and you have the rating system, that's not a perfect system either.
No.
PG-13 was basically invented because they wanted kids to be able to go to more movies that weren't completely R-rated.
Right.
But
with Spielberg, too. He was just like pushing the envelope, and you watch Gremlins now, and you're like, God, this is so bad for a PG movie. Like, this is borderline horror. Well, it is horror. I mean, that's inherently the genre. But anyway.
So what icons would we want to see then? Let's just pick 2. Like, what would symbolize, like, this is a game that's just going to bleed you dry versus this is a game that, you can spend money on it, but you don't have to.
Well, I think the loot box would be like a treasure chest with a $sign on it.
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'd be your loot box. What about season pass? That could be like a ticket. That could almost be this hand holding like a pass, like a movie ticket. So that would be your season pass. How about a baseball cap with a $sign on it? That is for cosmetic only purchases. What else do we got? What kind of other transactions am I missing?
I was thinking like a faucet with just money just pouring out of it.
Yeah, that would be one of them.
And
How about I got one with so it's a hand, and on the back of the hand is the $sign, and it is prominently displaying the middle finger. That's the pay to win one. So that we'll have that one for a couple of these games. What else do we have? I mean, there's just so many different versions of supporting your game that, and some are more egregious than others. Some, they work in this system. It's funny where the story DLC is actually probably the most favorable piece of additional content to buy in some instances, where you get more great story. Yeah, it's at a bit of a premium compared to the base game, but that's probably some of the best content versus and you know what? Kudos to you guys if you love those great cosmetics and great skins, but that does absolutely nothing for me. They look kind of cool, but of course it doesn't do anything for us because we don't stick around with games long enough for it to be meaningful.
You never paid for a Avatar outfit, Fream?
No. I'm wearing my Mad Scientist one that I got from completing Xbox Live Labs. That's it. I mean, I'll download the free stuff, but yeah, I never paid for anything. I did look for a Wisconsin Badgers shirt, and then I saw it, and they're like, yeah, well, it's licensed, so go ahead and pay me $6 for that. It's like, yeah, well, you can go to hell, because I'm definitely not doing that.
Have you paid any money into Pokemon Go? Just out of curiosity?
I did. I gave it $10 for an entire 2-3 summers worth of stuff. I thought, let me just get some coinage because I don't have it on that much, so I wanted to buy a bunch of incubators for my eggs. So like I can,
it's nice. Yeah,
make some progress. Like have 4 or 5 going at a time. That feels really good. You kind of have a steady stream of hatching things because I rarely see new Pokemon these days. So I did reward them with a little bit, and then there was another game that I paid for.
But to be fair though, I mean that's exactly a perfect example of why this is so hard.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, you just said you have 2 to 3 years of playing this game and you gave them $10.
Right.
Like it's I mean, you kind of can't, sometimes you can't fault developers when they're like, guys, please just we'll do this stuff for you, give us money. And obviously there's right ways and wrong ways to do it, and this is exactly like, it's muddled and it's confusing and it's hard. But there's ways to do it properly. There's ways to do it improperly. It's just, it's not a black and white issue by any means.
No, not quite. Not quite. Hey, do you guys remember the game Sea of Thieves? That was a thing. They're continuing to add updates. Well, they just came out with a new patch, and for anyone who cares, there's some things that are more like the skeleton ships are going to be more persistent, so you can go out and fight AI skeleton crews. They have cursed cannonballs, which can mess up your boat, or conversely, sink other people's boats and stuff. They got some cool stuff going on here. The reason I wanted to bring it up is there's a crew out there, the Bilge Rats. They've been the ones who have kind of been pioneering all the additional campaign items and things that you can go and do. So finding the Megalodon and stuff like that. Those are Bilge Rat events, right? So you're not doing the crates and you're not doing killing skeletons. It's just another avenue to get commendations and things like that. So that helps you in your achievements. But they're also, with this new update, is they are all the prices in all the shops have been reduced, so you can get things at more of a discount. So if you want to go out and buy your, you need to have a hat and an eye patch and a peg leg and a hook hand. There's an achievement for doing all those. So those are going to be cheaper now if you want that. And there are more frequent treasures, such as banana crates and cannonballs and wood crates. And so they have jacked up the percentage of banana crates out there. So you still need 1,000. They haven't fixed that, but they are showing up more frequent. I think it's 1,000. I haven't even bothered to look for a while. But they're increasing the amount that you'll find them on the side. They'll increase their value when you sell them, and they're more likely to be found in messages in a bottle, as far as doing those types of activities. So a little bit more Merchant Alliance things to help out there. And then there's this one piece here on Sea of Thieves release notes that I thought was kind of interesting, and I can't. Here it is. It's in the known issues, I believe. No, it doesn't say in there. But there was a comment about tweaking the achievements. I'm trying to find out where I saw this, because I read it and I was just like, whoa, hold on. Like, you're not saying that you might actually make things easier, will you? Now I wish I could find it. But because that's still what's, completely obnoxious, is that the levels are so high. Yeah, it's not in here. I don't see it. That's a bummer. But anyway, if you're still hunting out there in Sea of Thieves, or you're interested in doing a little bit more cleanup, maybe your life gets a little easier now. But they've continued to, support that and add to it, which, hey, good on you, right? But that's not the biggest news of the week. Nope. The biggest news, which presumably was leaked and they wanted to save it maybe for a little bit, but it was the Xbox All Access program that they're launching. Is this thing live now? When does this thing start? Do you guys know?
I thought it was live.
I thought so too, or maybe on September 1st, which is tomorrow. I don't know. It might be live now. But here it is, guys. For no upfront cost and one low monthly price for 24 months, Xbox All Access gets you a brand new Xbox One S or X, and access to 100 great games through Games Pass and online multiplayer with Xbox Live Gold. So if you do this, you get 24 months of Game Pass, 24 months of Gold. You pay one price per month, 0% APR, right? So you're just borrowing this thing for 24 months and nothing down, and they'll give you a console and those things. So is this a good deal? Koosh, tell me you crunched the numbers.
I did. I have crunched the numbers.
Let's hear it, math man.
Now, assuming that you are paying full price for everything, and we don't, right? Because we buy a lot of games. We need to save our monies where we can, cut corners where we can, so we buy things on sale. But let's just go with base prices. So Game Pass by itself is $120 a year if you pay full price, and Xbox Gold is going to be $60 a year. So that ends up being $180 a year just for that. So $360 for the 2-year term. And when you look at the price currently of an Xbox One S 1 terabyte, which is the one that they're going to give you, that's $300, and One X is $500. So you're looking at, if purchased full price separately, the One S is going to cost you $660 total for console and for services, and the Xbox One X is going to cost you $860 for the Xbox One X and services. But if you go with their plan, you end up paying $528 for the S, which saves you $132, or you're going to pay $840 for an X, which saves you $20. So, too long didn't read. The S is the best deal if you don't need that graphic fidelity of the X. And if you do go...
you don't have your 4K TV yet.
Yeah, and if you do go with the X, you are probably making no money. You're probably making no savings because you're going to be cutting corners. That $20 buffer is going to be eaten up super quickly.
Which is totally reasonable. But here's the bigger thing is, we all have cell phones, right? And I would think that most of us tie ourselves to a cell phone plan because it's not realistic to say I'm going to spend $700 on a phone and buy it outright and then pay somebody to, then carry that service for that. It's, maybe if you want the new shiny fancy, which we all did with our X's, bought new shiny fancy and it cost us $500. Or however you manage to finagle it by selling a bunch of games at GameStop and or trading things and doing this and doing that and whatever. So you pay a premium for that. But now, given this as an option, this is effectively a cell phone contract. You get it, cost you, you're committing for 2 years, and for $35 a month, which is significantly more reasonable than throwing $800 down for all of this. Now, granted, you would only, be spending the $700 on the front end of, for that first year, and then you'd have to renew your Live, and then you'd have to spend your $10 a month on Game Pass if that's if you're going the more traditional route. But a lot of people aren't sitting on $600. That's a big ask. But $35 a month for an X, or even just that $20 for an S, that's a sweet deal to get people in the door. I think this is an absolute brilliant move. I'm shocked that Microsoft is doing it, just because I think it is so radical. And it's not even, when you think of it, it's not necessarily even that radical in terms of it's a cell phone deal. They've done this for years now with cell phones. It just seems so weird to think of it for a console. You're going to let me borrow this super awesome computer for 2 years? Or, rent it from you for 2 years? That's just weird.
No, it's not rental.
It's
I suppose. You're buying
you terminate
it
early.
It's more of a
it's more of a
own. Yeah,
lease to own.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I don't know if you guys remember, but before the Xbox One days, there were rumors of this all over the place. I
don't remember that.
Yeah, no. Microsoft was quote unquote planning to do this for the Xbox One generation like from launch. Like there was going to be like a more expensive version that you could lease and then own at the end, and you'd be locked in for 2 like this is nothing new. It feels weird and it feels late to the party to do it now. But hey, if it gets people in, I mean, obviously that's the goal, that it gets people involved in the ecosystem. And of course, if Microsoft is losing money on the front end, they're expecting people to spend money on the back end. Now I can get movies on this thing. I can buy new games, other games that I can't get through Game Pass. But yeah, any way that gets people into the ecosystem is obviously a positive thing overall.
I mean, don't you want to just sit in on the earnings calls on these things and find out, okay, how is this plan, a year from now, how does this plan worked out? Like, okay, so people are buying into this. Are they also buying games? Or are they just sticking with, their plans? Are people being frugal with this? Or is this really the gateway drug to get people in? And then I have questions, so many questions. Once again, obviously, you pull out early. Yeah, you're going to have to pay for the full console. I'm looking at the FAQ right now. It looks like you pretty much have to pay for the full thing. But with a cell phone plan, you buy in, and then the new Galaxy Note comes out. You upgrade to that, and you turn in your old hardware. Like, are they going to have an option for that? Is that something that they offer? Because like you were saying, we're pretty late in the life cycle here.
Are we though?
Well, yeah, and that's
hear me
exactly.
out.
That's another question.
Hear me this now. So, 2 years, starting in September. Right? Mm-hmm. That's going to end right around the time that Scarlet is going to come out. Huh.
So we think.
So now you have fully paid for your Xbox One X, and guess what? You're about a month out from Xbox Scarlet.
See, that's interesting.
Allegedly.
Yeah. That is interesting timing. And they also say here, while supplies last.
Right.
So maybe they mysteriously run out of supplies, in a month or 2 months after people have kind of bought into this, and it's their window for releasing Scarlet. That's an interesting theory.
Yeah. That's kind of my angle, is that they're saying, hey, we get these people in now, we give them their 2 years, like this gets a new group of people in, and then they are off the hook. They're no longer committed to buying this. Maybe we can entice them with a little Scarlet action.
So here's the question. Right now, it makes no sense for us to do this.
No.
When Scarlet comes out, are you tempted?
Super.
No.
Very much so. Because it was really tough for me to scrounge together. I mean, I had to really pull some strings to get and wait for the right deal. Get the trade-ins to work out, get some extra games included to get my X at a reasonable price. That was painful. I wanted it early and right away, and I wanted it, and I had to wait 6 months for it or something. But I would jump at this. Like, that is because I'm ultimately going to get one anyway. So if it's really a wash for me. Like, I don't intend to not be playing video games for 2 years. Like, so if both my Xboxes, I'm going to knock on wood, if both my Xboxes totally crap out, I would be on board for this right now. Like, yeah, hey, I need a replacement Xbox. Hook me up. So give me that X for $35 a month. I mean, I'm going to buy a new one anyway. So let me just, borrow it from you. I'll add 2 years onto my account. I'm already paying for Games Pass. I'm already paying for, Live. Perfect. I'm in.
Yeah, I ultimately see this move as good for the consumer. It's just, it doesn't really apply for the kind of gamer that we generally are.
At least right now, yeah. This mid-cycle.
Yeah. I love it. It's great.
Even if it launched, like the next Xbox launched with
program in place,
this program, I still think I'd shell out the cash. But that's just, that's personal spending preferences, and there's a lot of whatever that's involved in that. I just
Yeah, well, you're just rich as hell.
That's exactly what it is. No, but I like them to have at least to offer the option for sure. That's way better than not having any options.
Well, I mean, there's also the talk about the new console, being streamable. So like games will be streamed to you in 2 to 5 years. So maybe owning a home console isn't as important, especially if they're able to, with a system, an OS update, have your Xbox One X be able to play, the streaming games, because all the horsepower is being done, at a server farm. So, I mean...
Well, and what exactly is going to be launched with the Scarlet? Like, there's the talk of the family of devices. Like, is it, is there a streaming tablet? Is there a actual console? Is there a stick? Is there who knows what the hell they're thinking about? Is there going to be some sort of portable handheld type device? Like, and are all these options going to be available? I don't know. This, we're just getting to the beginning of details coming out for what the hell Scarlet might be and what's going to come out or possibly come out. And then you've got, the game of chicken between Microsoft and Sony trying to, who's going to tip their hand. I'm sure they have sources on both sides telling them, what the hell's going on and who's working on what and what are the rumored specs and stuff like that. I mean, you can't keep that thing a secret. That's just not really that
Fream.
Not really practical. But
surely you aren't implying corporate espionage. Surely
no,
not.
I mean, I work with customers and stuff, and you hear stuff like, they talk about another contract manufacturer, or they'll let something slip of or you're just joking around saying, oh yeah, I was talking to this person, and he's like, oh yeah, you can do this and this, and like, I don't think you should have told me that, and it's just you let your guard down, and I'm sure it's not like it's Remedy is working for both sides now, and so it's very likely that they'll say, "Oh, well, we're speccing this game out to be this." Well, why'd you pick those numbers? Let's just say maybe Sony is saying that I should target these for specs or whatever, and so you're going to kind of know what you're working with. That being said, kind of talking about next generation consoles here. If so, like, I keep thinking of like, I love the gamer first mentality that Microsoft is putting forth right now. I think that is just, it's awesome and it's exciting. It's exciting to be an Xbox gamer. And we're still waiting on the exclusives to come out, and Sony has all those exclusives, but they don't have those consumer friendly tactics that Microsoft has right now. And so when they come out with PlayStation 5, it's almost a certainty that they're going to have some level of backwards compatibility, that they're going to have, whether they adopt this system as well to be really, have a low barrier to entry for things. Like, if they copy these things, is that going to make an impact? Or is it like, oh yeah, well, you didn't think of it first, so you guys have to come up with something more creative? I don't know. What do you think the take is going to be on something?
Well, I think everyone has to include backwards compatibility, unless you're Nintendo, because Nintendo does what Nintendo does. But Sony and Xbox, from here on out, it's just got to be backwards compatible.
I think so
they just
too.
can't. I mean, no one's going to go with the goofy architecture anymore, right? So you're not going to get that
right.
weird processor and stuff that makes it really difficult. And hopefully the next console, for Sony, and I'm not a Sony guy, but hopefully their next console will be powerful enough that it can actually make up for that extra weird processing goofiness from the
right.
PS3. And they can get over that, and then they can get all their backwards compatible and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's got to keep coming. So what's the differentiator going to be? Yeah, man, that's tough. It's going to be your friends, and it's going to be the exclusives, and Microsoft exclusives are unknown right now.
Yeah, and I just like when they say, "Oh, and hey, on PlayStation 5 we have backwards compatibility," like. of course the Sony people are going to be just freaking out, but like, is the world at large going to be as excited? Like, oh, thank God it's here finally, or is it like, well, it's about time?
Now, the only thing that they could announce in terms of BC, from Sony's perspective, that would make any sort of dent in Microsoft's strategy over the last few years is blanket backwards compability. And
From the
I don't even know
PlayStation
that
1
that's
on?
Yes, I don't even know that that's technically possible. So I don't envy them, because no matter what they do at this point, it's already going to look less than impressive next to what Microsoft's been doing for these years and years now. It's been years that they've been focusing on this. So unless Sony can do something like that, something drastic and dramatic, and to the point like that, and say, yes, any disc you've ever owned on any Sony system is now playable on PlayStation 5. It's not going to matter. It's not going to, in terms of, it's not going to mean enough, to the wider press significantly, where it's going to look like they're not playing catch up. They have to leapfrog Microsoft at this point. And like I said, I don't even think that's physically possible. It may be, but they would have to put a lot of work and a lot of resources into it.
Totally agree. And like, if something, Sony's they've got ways to try and track some of these metrics and at least think comparatively about what they're spending and how well these Microsoft promotions are doing, and trying to gauge what's working and what's not working. Obviously Microsoft has numbers, they can see how they're going. Like when Phil said, surprisingly, with Games Pass, that they're not only are gamers, what did he say, like 40% more, they're gaming 40% more, but they're also buying 20% more, or maybe those numbers are flipped, but like that was weird to me, that it's like, well, you have all these games, like, why are you buying more games? Like, you have all these games, and yet you're still shelling out for, supporting the devs and saying that, well, maybe I don't want this to leave, or I don't know. But like, I thought that was really interesting, and certainly nothing that I would have expected, given that you're essentially letting people play hundreds of games for relatively low cost. I mean, it's almost insignificant. For some, $10 a month can be significant, but so does Sony say, like, boy, that's really working for them. Maybe we should adopt that. And I don't know. I'm really curious about what the counterpunch is going to be. And I think they're going to end up saving so much of it for the PlayStation 5 that I hope at that point the damage isn't already done, right, to their goodwill. At some point we're going to get cross compatibility, or cross-play, or at least cross-sharing of your progress. Probably not cross-play, but at least cross-sharing of progress. There's just, anyway, it's great that we have three very successful, very viable companies looking for, for our resources, being money and time. That's awesome. It's just great for consumers. It's a wonderful time to be a gamer, and there's so many options out there, both expensive and inexpensive, and there's so many free games. There's so many games.
So many games.
So many games. Yet we have no achievements in NBA 2K19, the Prelude. God.
Womp, womp.
What a travesty. What a terrible way to end the show.
Way to go,
Fream.
3
years in a row.
Yeah.
How do they do it? And they give them to Sony, but they don't give them to us.
Give them to Sony. They got the exclusive.
Has there ever been an actual official response to that?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I really don't know. It's not like it'd be one. I don't. Like, it's not like they have exclusivity. Like, I don't know. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. Anyway, what do you guys? So I'm going to ask you what you're doing, but really nothing, because we don't know our UHH lists yet. That's I would presume dictates a lot of what you're gonna end up playing here. Don't forget, there is the game of the month is you know what? Just I'll give you 3 games and just play them all, because there was talk of Oxenfree as a game of the month, which I'm excited for because I need some the letter O for Toad Style Venom. There's 2 O's in that for the Gamertag Challenge this month. So Oxenfree works perfect for that. There's also there was people who wanted to play Human Fall Flat, which has just entered Games Pass, or maybe it was like it entered in August or whatever. But anyway, that's in there, and that would be a fun, not maybe a deep experience to talk about, but it's kind of one of those silly physics games where goofy stuff happens, and you're kind of encouraged to break the game to play it. So go ahead. We'll just have a bunch of discussions about those 2 games there. It'll be great. And then the community challenge. It's Tomb Raider's out, guys. It's or it will be out here in September. So we're gonna have Tomb Raider month for the month of September. So get your Lara Croft on. Do that nude code and have some fun. Yeah.
Too many games.
Or just enjoy the games.
Too many.
Toad Style. There's 2 T's in there, so I might be playing the Tomb Raider reboot. That'll be fun.
Onrush.
I think that's it.
Onrush.
Oh, that's right. Onrush just came into Games Pass. That's an O. That's a good O. So there you have it. Lots of options, friends. Head over to our forums, forum.z2z.com. That's a great place to see all these contests and join in the fun. And join in the chat on Discord, discord.io/z2z. So with that, I think that's about it for the show. You guys have anything else you want to add? Anything you need to plug? Anything, any gaming sessions upcoming that, you're interested in getting some action on? You working on anything long-term, Proulx?
Well, I mean, the same things I'm always working long-term on, Halo and that sort of stuff. But no, nothing specifically this week. But that could change. Like you say, we're recording this on Friday night. We get our UHH lists on Saturday noonish, Saturday early morning, afternoon. So we'll see. I mean, there definitely could be a mad rush to get as much as we can done in a week. So, keep an eye on Discord so that we can all help each other out.
Absolutely. Koosh, what about you? You're wrapping up all your boosts.
I am, and I'm excited about it. Hopefully we'll get our 5-man done on Evolve, and then we only have Diablo left. And my hope is that we leave our days open and don't pick a game right away. And if we do, we only pick 1 game, and we just kind of focus. It'd be nice to do a little bit of cleanup and get a little bit of breathing room, and maybe that's a good thing to do with UHH. Maybe take a little break from that. But yeah, I hope to take it kind of easy and kind of enjoy some games. I started a bunch of stuff. I kind of want to make a little more progress.
I like it. I actually have a Battleborn achievement on my list. It's doing Toby, I think, and I think I have almost all of his done. So that's a huge... I do. All I have to do is kill 10 people with the self-destruct.
It's not even people, is it? It's just... Yep.
Enemies. 10 enemies.
Easy
That's
peasy.
right. Oh, crap. I'm so going to do that. That's like 700 points. Cha-ching! I'm excited. That's great. Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody, for listening. I really appreciate it. And on behalf of Koosh and Proulx, I've been Brandon. And to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and have a great weekend. Or whenever the hell you listen to this. We'll catch you next week. I don't know why I screwed that up. What the like?
That's all right.
I do it every week, and it's like, where the hell did that sentence come from?